Hi, if you want to analyze large chunks of data or look at more details with multiple data dimensions at the same time, the pivot table is the right option for you. The pivot table is an application that provides a quick access to data in a tabular format. It provides ability to pivot any number of the dimensions, such as indicators, data elements, organization units, and periods, as columns and rows to create customized views. The pivot table is one of the visualization types within the Data Visualizer app, even though there is a separate pivot table application in the system. To access this application, click on the menu icon and type pivot in the search field. Click on the pivot table icon to open it. Every pivot table must have a selection from the three W's: what, when, and where. So let's get started and select the what dimensions. What requires us to select indicator, data element, reporting rates, or tracker data, depending on the analysis that we want to perform here. So for example, let us select indicators. Select indicator group to simplify searching. Select the respective indicators that you want to perform analysis. Move to the next step where you'll be required to specify the second W, that is when. Click on the period, row, and select the period type. You can select daily, weekly, bi-monthly, quarterly, 6 monthly, and so on and so forth, depending on the type of analysis that you want to perform. By default, last 12 month has been selected here. So let's just leave last 12 month. Even though you can always change this depending on the analysis that you want to perform. Let's move to finalize the last W, that is where. This is user dependent or fixed in that there are data analytics and output organization units for specific users and fixed organization units for specific data. For example, there are some indicators that can be analyzed at the council level, while others can be analyzed up to the village level. So for example here, Tanzania is selected by default, but you can select any region where you want to perform analysis. At the top of the organization unit tree, there are three checkboxes. The first one is labeled user of unit. The second one is labeled user subunits, and the last one user subunits times 2 units. This means that if you select user of unit and click on it, this will give you analysis based on the topmost hierarchy on the access given to the user that has logged in here. For example, I have access to the national level. So if I click update here, I'll be able to view indicator performance or indicator data entered for Tanzania region. I mean for all Tanzania regions in the selected period here. For example, if I choose user subunits and I uncheck user of unit, this will show me all regions under Tanzania. So if a user has access to the region level and has selected user subunits, then the respective councils under that region will be displayed in the organization unit area. Let's see. Notice now that all regions under Tanzania have been displayed here. Same applies. If you select user sub times 2 units, Then you'll be able to view at the third level of the organization unit hierarchy, that is the council level for me here. But for other users, it will depend on the access level of the user that has logged in the system. So now we have completed the three W's here, but there is more in pivot tables. You can change the layout of this table by swapping the report filters, row dimensions, and column dimensions. Notice that the periods have been swapped with the organization units. You can continue swapping to get the appearance that you want for this pivot table. For example, I want organization units to appear in the row dimensions and data to appear in the column dimensions, whereas the periods to appear in the report filter. And this is the pivot table now. So you can change the layout until you get the layout that pleases you. Also, you can add more options to this pivot table. For example, you can choose to show column totals and update here. Scroll down and you'll see that each column has a total indicated below it. If you choose to show row totals and update, then you'll see that at the end of each row, a total will be shown. You can also choose to show column subtotals or row subtotals and update here. They will also be shown respectively. You can change the aggregation type. By default here, it was by data element, but you can change this. Maybe if you say by count and update, then it will be updated respectively. You'll observe the data, it will be different from the initial one. If you want to change the number type, you can select the percentage of the row. This will give you percentage of each data in the whole row displayed here. So you can just change these options depending on your preference. You can choose to include only completed events, and you can also choose to show hierarchy in the organization units. Let's see if we update. Now there are some events that have decreased, and you see the pivot table now appears to be shorter. And on the organization unit, you can see that it displays the organization unit from the topmost hierarchy to the organization unit that we selected. For example, here, Arusha region, the topmost hierarchy is the country level, and so forth for all regions. So I'll uncheck this too. It's not necessary to add options to the pivot table, but this will depend on your preference. After being satisfied with the appearance of your pivot table, you can choose to download this pivot table so that you can share it to other team members, or you can use it in presentations. You can also perform more analysis that maybe has not been performed here in the pivot table application. You can also do more analysis on this pivot table depending on your preferences. Thank you. That's all about pivot tables.